We have more top transfer portal targets that the Ohio State Buckeyes need to be pursuing, including someone at a position that we're going to be losing in a big way in the NFL draft and another player at a position of need this year and for the future. We got to break it all down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Columbus Football 365. If you're an Ohio State football fan, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out a ton. But let's jump right into the news for today, starting with the top prospect on this list, someone that I'm sure a lot of people watching this video have already heard about, but coming from Sports Illustrated, Caleb Downs is about to be a top 5 pick, if not the number 1 overall draft pick in the NFL draft next year. So a replacement at safety is needed. Boo Carter from Tennessee could fill that role well after having 25 tackles, 3 forced fumbles, 3 pass deflections, and 1 sack with the Volunteers. He may not be able to do everything Caleb Downs does, but Carter can create turnovers and disrupt the passing game in multiple ways. Now, learning about who we have here, Boo Carter is currently a sophomore at Tennessee, but has entered the transfer portal. He stands 5'11", 200 pounds, so pretty decent size for a safety, although not elite. Has 16 solo tackles, 3 passes defended, and 0 interceptions on the season, although he does force turnovers as he's forced 3 fumbles so far on this year. We know Caleb Downs is an all-world talent at the safety position ever since he transferred into Ohio State from Alabama. But now Caleb Downs is going to be moving on to the next level in the NFL, so we are going to have to find a replacement at that position. And if you pay close attention to the Ohio State's defense schematically, you know that having an elite safety is a huge part of that defense, because what Matt Patricia likes to do is show something to the quarterback pre-snap and then change the defense post-snap. And one of the easiest, most important ways how he does this is he comes out in either 2 safeties high or 3 safeties high or 1 safety high, and then changes how many safeties are high and brings safeties down into the box after the football is snapped, or maybe he'll drop another guy back. The point is the safeties move a lot after the football is snapped, and we need highly athletic and talented safeties to be able to continue to run that part of the scheme at a high level. If we are looking at some of the prospect information for Boo Carter out of Tennessee, like I said, 5'11", 200 pounds, coming from Tennessee as a recruit, but now decides he no longer wants to play for the Volunteers. He is rated by 24/7 Sports as a 4-star transfer, the number 1 safety in the transfer portal, the 26th overall player in the transfer portal. So this is a not only a position of need, this is overall just one of the best players available in the transfer portal. You know, Ohio State, we have a couple positions that we need to be addressing, safety being one of them, but overall, the transfer portal is a talent acquisition period, and you're really just looking for the top transfers that you can possibly bring in for the right price, or guys that just fit the program properly. When he was coming out of high school, Boo Carter was a 4-star, rated a 93 as a prospect, so pretty similar to exactly where he is as a transfer, but it's good to see that he lived up to the hype that he brought to the table as a transfer. Now, getting on to our second name here, I teased him not on purpose earlier on in the video, but if you've been paying attention to the offense of Ohio State, you know the passing offense is absolutely amazing, arguably the number 1 passing offense in all of college football, especially because of how talented the wide receivers are, but the run game has been a little bit of a question mark. Our starting running back freshman Bo Jackson has had a tremendous season stats-wise, but if you watch the film and you're watching the games, the run game isn't as impactful or as powerful as the pass game is. So we need to find some additions to specifically the right side of the offensive line if we want to put together the offense to make it as just as good as it possibly can be for next season. So now enter per reports from ESPN's Pete Thamel, Texas offensive lineman Connor Stroh is set to enter the transfer portal after spending the past 3 seasons in Austin. He played in 10 games with 5 starts this year after not receiving a snap during the 2023 and 24 campaigns. Connor Stroh is a right guard for the Texas Longhorns, and he's someone who can be an addition to the Ohio State front line. As a prospect, the important part, 6'7", 341 pounds. This guy is an absolute monster. Rated as a 3-star transfer and 87 overall. You may think that's a little bit low. I mean, I think we don't want to get too greedy here. You know, other schools are going to be able to recruit the top talent as well. We're not just going to be able to get all of the top guys, but this is a prospect who came out of Texas, stayed in the state of Texas by going to UT Austin, and now entered the transfer portal. Currently, as I said before, a 3-star transfer. And you may ask, why would we have interest in the number 102 overall prospect in the portal? You know, the overall number might be a little bit lower, but Connor is the number 3 interior offensive lineman. And if we are looking at the other interior offensive lineman, the number 1 guy, Noah McKinney, is already committed to TCU. He went straight from Oklahoma State to TCU. Already knew immediately where he was going to go. The other interior offensive lineman who is higher rated than Connor, you can see they're very, very closely rated here. Connor coming in at a .8700 and then Riley Robel at a .8800. But so very close prospect wise. And Riley Robel does not bring the size that Connor Stroh brings to the table. Robel is only 6'3", 291 pounds. Also plays at JMU, a group of 6 school, not playing the competition that Texas has been facing over the course of their past couple of games. So I do believe Connor Stroh is the target for Ohio State at the right guard position because number 1 guy already committed. We're not going to be flipping him. Riley Robel, while graded higher by 24/7 Sports, we have to remember, as smart as the people who run 24/7 are, and as as smart as they are not the be-all, end-all authority on who is better than who. 2 players being rated this similarly to each other, it doesn't mean for a fact that Robel is better than Connor Stroh. So, very well we could bring in Connor and he could end up being better when we bring him in. I'm not saying that the Texas coaches aren't good or anything, but when we bring him in to be coached under the Ohio State coaches that we know for a fact are absolutely top notch, maybe we are able to make something more out of a prospect who is 6'7", 341 pounds. As great as any coaches in the world are, you can't teach Riley to be 6'7" and over 330 pounds. He's just not that type of guy, standing at only 6'3", 291 pounds. So I love the idea of bringing in the older veteran right guard and seeing what we can figure out of what is an extremely oversized player here at the right guard position. I think both of these guys, Boo Carter and Connor Stroh, would be amazing acquisitions for Ohio State should we determine that they are worthy of the resources to go after them and just bringing them into our program. But I do think especially Boo Carter is a player that we need to keep a very close eye on, as he is someone who is definitely generating a lot of buzz, and as being ranked the 26th overall prospect and the number 1 prospect at a position of need, that is something that is highly important. And Boo Carter is the name of these 2 guys that you need to be taking a very close look at if you're someone that is interested in what the transfer portal news is and who is coming and who is not. I'm sure there will be an update video on maybe both of these guys, but definitely Boo Carter in the future. But that's what I got for this video. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate you taking the time to watch it all the way through. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and go Buckeyes.